It's that time of year again. It's iPhone season, and that means it's my case roundup video. Each year I have a pile of cases to go through. I'm not going to take up too much time by going into in-depth reviews of each case. However, if you're interested in a more in-depth review about a particular case, let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to get that done. I will have some individual reviews going on pretty soon, so stay tuned to the channel. Other things that will be happening on the channel will be the best iPhone accessories, some individual cases, some how-to videos. I've got some plans, some comparisons, a ton of stuff, needless to say, that needs to come out onto the channel as soon as possible. If this is your first time watching this kind of video on this channel, you can go down below in the description, you'll see chapter markers. So if you're interested in a particular brand, you can just go click on that spot and skip the rest if you want to, or you can watch the whole thing. Along with those chapters are links to purchase everything. They're affiliate links, and I appreciate the support by using those links because that helps support my family, my hobbies, and also my profession. Some of these cases were sent to me and some of them I bought myself because I wanted to include what I consider the best choices that you can get. Around August of 2025, what I'll end up doing is giving my top 3 or 5 cases that I used throughout the year so that I could kind of see what lasted, what I preferred, and just my preferences of how I like to choose a case. I did that for this year, and you can check out that video in the cards or just by going onto the channel itself. At the end of the video, I'll include my top 3 or 5 cases. I haven't decided just yet how many of my top that I want to do out of the batch, out of this whole collection of cases. So once I get through all the cases, it's probably going to be 5 just because there's just so much to go through. But if you want to watch the whole video and then get to that part, or you can just go down to the chapters and skip ahead to the best part. There's a couple promotional spots that I want to talk to you before I get into the cases. The first one is MusicBed. That's where I get all my music for this channel. If you're interested in starting your own channel, it's got some of the best selections of music that you can ask for. You can sign up for a free account with the link down below. The next one I want to talk about is Chalkerhaus. This guy is a friend of mine that has a small business. It's one of my favorite shops I've ever been into. It's got some of my favorite kind of things that I like to shop for. It's like a guy's boutique shop in a sense. It's where I got this hat, this Topo Designs hat. It's one of my favorites. I wear it all the time. It's my everyday hat. There's apparel if you like disc golf, if you like camping. Really, there's just some really cool stuff that you can get. There's also some accessories that I'll be talking about that you can use with an iPhone or any phone really, that you can add to that. I want to do what I can to support small businesses, so if you can, check out that website. If you like outdoorsy kind of stuff, you'll really like this store. Some of the key areas that I'll talk about for each case is how it feels, the cutouts, the tactileness of the buttons. I'll have to talk about the camera control button area and the materials. There's obviously way more that I could talk about with each case, and that's why this is just an overview, not a deep review of any case, but those are the areas to kind of pay attention to. The order of these cases is in no particular order, so don't think that like the first one that I talk about is the best one and then the last one is the worst one. This is all kinds of styles and all kinds of designs. Something here should be for everybody. So let's start off with Apple. I mean, it's only natural, right? Apple really reduced the amount of cases that they're even offering this time around. They're not doing leather anymore. That was something that was different last year. The fine woven, not even offered anymore. So you got a clear case and their silicone case, and that's it. And in case you're wondering, I'm using the iPhone 16 Pro Max model. Packaging is pretty minimal, not much to it. The inside has like this felt material, so it's gonna be really nice and soft to the touch, not only to your hands, but to the phone itself. MagSafe compatibility, of course. I don't know how I feel about the camera control button yet, but Apple, being Apple, that they have pretty much one of the best kind of buttons that you have for camera control. It's not just a cutout, it's not just a, there's a lot of different styles out there. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this put on. It's a really soft touch silicone, so that feels great in the hand. I feel like it's a little too slippery for my liking though. Being that it's made by Apple, the precision of all the cutouts for the speakers, the USB-C port, the camera, it's all just gonna be pretty much perfect. They're not gonna mess that part up. Mind that I do have a tempered glass screen protector installed on this, so if you see it flush with the edge and then the screen, it's because it's got that tempered glass on there too. The edge is raised above the screen, and you also have some camera module protection as well. Tactileness, feels great as expected. The camera control button is flush, like you don't see it protrude above. There's a little bit of a different kind of texture, but it doesn't protrude at all. I'm still trying to get used to the camera control button, so pardon my jankiness with some of that. If you like the silicone case style, you really can't go wrong with the Apple one. I'm not gonna say it's like a huge drop protection kind of case, but it'll get the job done. Let me know. Next up, I'm going Nomad, and I wanna kind of do a comparison with that. The patina on last year's case did not, I don't know, have extreme patina like I've had in the past. There's definitely some markings, there's definitely some character that's involved with this case, but yeah, it didn't mark up as much as what it has in the past. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because, you know, patina, like I said, it gives it some character, but so this is the modern leather that was on the 15 Pro Max that I had, and this is what it looks like fresh out of the box. You should be able to tell the difference. This one, the brand new one, has no kind of patina at all, fresh and clean. I will say that this is one of my top used cases throughout the years. I've gotten the modern leather case, the rugged modern leather like they used to name it, and it's been my most used style case that I've had. There's a couple of others here that I've used, you know, almost as much, but this is my go-to. This is the one that I end up using the most every single year for years at this point. And I'll give you my short condensed review about it, is that it's got a really elegant look to it. The leather is amazing, but it's got that rugged protection on the sides. It's got like that TPU material. It's got anodized buttons that just feel great every time. Yeah, so let's get to that point real quick. Very tactile, no complaints there whatsoever. There's a cutout for the camera control, and that's gonna be really like the common factor with a lot of stuff. So you're gonna have to put your finger in there. I'm gonna have a bunch of random pictures from this video. This is crazy, but just to test out the camera control. Here's a good BTS photo. You've got pretty good cutouts for the speaker grills and also the USB port. This is Nomad's Kevlar cable, and this is the one that I actually end up using. It's in my everyday carry. And what I like, obviously they're gonna have to make their product to work well with their own product, right? But this is it's not a thick tip, but it's also not the smallest one out there either. But the important thing is that this is the cable that I like to use, so I need it to work well with the case as well. And it's a perfect fit for this case. Modern leather MagSafe. This is the Nomad traditional leather case, and I'm actually pretty excited about this one. And I'll tell you why. I love Nomad cases. It's just, to me, they're one of the best companies out there, if not the best. One of the biggest differences is the edge. The modern case has the TPU rubber material. This is a fully leather wrapped material. I got the black iPhone for the purpose really to have this kind of design with the phone this time. You got the black trim on the case itself, black buttons, just looks really, oh, the button on this actually feels better than, not saying that this one's bad at all, but this feels really good. Most leather cases that I've seen so far are gonna have this kind of cutout for the camera control, which I'm not completely mad at because, I mean, you can launch it just fine and it works great. Protective notes is that it is raised above the screen a bit. The camera module is protected, and you've got good cutouts for your bottom ports. Traditional leather MagSafe test. Oh yeah. To me, this is the kind of case that, like, if I want to get dressed up, like I'm actually dressing up my phone, as well as when I'm dressed apparel-wise. So if I'm going out at night or something, this would be something that I would put on there. This is the Nomad Sport case. You got a lot of color options, and throughout the year, they got limited edition drops, and some of these colorways that they put out there are just freaking fine. Like the new green one that they have, I'm actually kind of jealous. I wish I would have got that one instead. But this one actually, this feels different this year. I think Nomad took some notes. So it doesn't have as high gloss feel to it. It's got more of a matte kind of finish to it. I'm a fan of that. I like that so much more. That's awesome. Oh, wow. It's a nice felt material on the inside. One of the things that I love about the Sport case, and actually really any of the Nomad products, is that it's minimal. You don't see a ton of branding all slapped all over it. It is designed very nicely, and it doesn't take away from the whole design of the phone itself. But you can see here that the blue, the black phone looks, I'm glad I did the black phone this year. I haven't done a black phone in forever. Like, I can't remember the last time I had a black phone. I like this so much more. This is a nice improvement in Nomad. Good job. Buttons feel great, nice and tactile. No complaints there. You're gonna have a cutout for the camera control. Launches just fine. Other protective notes is that it is raised above the screen a bit. There's this groove that just helps with the gripability of it. It's a nice gripping point, and a contact point is another way that I like to put it. A touch point, so that way you can grip the phone a little bit easier. MagSafe test with the sport case. Very good magnets. It's going to be actually pretty hard to decide what case I use after all of these that I go through. This is the Nomad Rugged case. Now this is another one that you can get a ton of colorways, and you got limited color drops that happen throughout the year. This is one of the ones that I put on almost right away. And the reason is because of their new Rocky Point watch bands. I've got the yellow one on right now, but there's also a blue one. I've made a little bit of content about that. You can check out my stuff, but more to come about the watch band stuff. But you can basically get matching case and watch band colors, and it just looks like a nice, it's just a nice combination that you can get. Again, a nice felt material on the inside. The biggest thing that you're going to notice with this case is that it's bigger. It's got a lot more rugged design to it, and it's one of the few cases that doesn't rock on a table. So if that's important to you, this is one of the few that just doesn't do that. The corners are reinforced more on this case, so a lot of drops happen on the corner. As a matter of fact, I dropped my Pixel 9 Pro XL, and I had a thinner case, and I was super nervous because it was one of those carbon fiber cases. I wish I'd had this. Nothing, fortunately, happened to the phone, or even the case, really, that for that matter. I'll have to show you guys later. But anyways, corner drops happen a lot, and that's where a lot of damage does happen when a fall happens. The rugged case is what I put on when I go camping, when I do my outdoor adventures, hiking, anything like that. This is what I'm putting on there because I know that I'm going to have a better protected phone. At this point in the game, if you have weak magnets on MagSafe stuff, like, don't even make a case anymore. Yeah, that feels good. Nomad, you did a great job this time. I'm really impressed. I love this stuff. I love Peak Design. Not just their phone cases, but their bags. I use their Everday bag literally every day. It is my go-to bag. I love that thing. And again, I'm going with the theme. I got that new coyote color. That looks fantastic. That backpack looks amazing. You can get other bags, the slings, the tech pouches, so on and so forth. But you also have like this really neat, unique mobile accessory system that they have. I'm going to be making more content about that because there's this rig that I'm trying to get it to where I can use my phone more for filming myself. Anyways, that's going to help me get along. Between the Nomad case and the Peak Design, those were my top 2 used cases throughout the year last year. On the inside, you're going to notice the MagSafe magnets. It's actually one of the best systems out there. It's got that same, almost the same material on the inside and outside. And then on the inside, you got these air pocket cushions that help add a little bit of extra cushioning for the drop. More cushion for the pushing. All right. One of the things that stands out to me the most about this is the loop. And to me, it's worth spending the extra few bucks to get the loop version because, as you can see, this is one of the great ways to just hold a phone. I've used it on a number of occasions when I'm out in the field shooting, recording videos, when I need to have notes, when I don't want to drop my phone, have a little bit of extra peace of mind that it's not going to fall out of my hand. This loop works like a charm. All right, buttons feel great, very nice. It's a full cutout for the camera control button, but this one, what you might notice is that the edges, the grooves, is a little bit more of a slant. So you're not gonna have to like press into the camera control area as much as other cases that I've used so far. And you can see it works fine. It is raised above the screen a bit, so you have that protection. Camera module is nice and good. I love this case. The material is one of my favorite things about it too. It's got that cloth material. I'm not the biggest fan of clear cases, of plastic backs. I want to have something that has some texture to it. And really, like, honestly, the Peak design, Nomad as well, checks off a lot of the boxes. One problem that I've had, and because I was using this case just as my everyday case to start off with, the Nomad cable does not fit inside of the USB port. So that's a little bit of a bummer. If you have a smaller cable, it'll fit fine for this. So my critique for Peak design is to make this opening a bit wider so that was compatible with more cables. I actually end up using more cables. I don't use wireless charging as much as I thought I would. Little Peak design case, MagSafe test. it's got some of the best magnets for sure. Goodness. Solid. All right, next up is Mous, and this is another one that I started using. I just put them inside the boxes again, so that way you can kind of see what the packaging looks like, because I know some people care about that. And Mous has become one of my favorite brands that I've used. It's got really good shock absorption and protection. The MagSafe magnets are really good every time. For whatever reason though, like out of the box, they end up a little bit like have a bent kind of feel to it, and I'm not sure why it's like that. But to me, like Mous is just one of those very solid protective cases. And again, like you can get some different materials. They have wood. They got this kind of, I don't know it's like a rubbery kind of feel to it. It's not as rubbery or grippy as what it has been in the past. So they changed something about this. It used to have a lot more grip to it. And that's the reason why I got this one. I'm not the biggest fan of the spec design, but the grip of it was great. So it was one of those cases where if I knew that I wanted to have some nice protection with some grip, this was what I threw on. But the buttons, they always feel great. It feels good. It's raised above the screen quite a bit. The camera cutout is a full cutout, and it's one of the widest ones. Like this is, they definitely made this one bigger than the average that I've seen. But you can have no issues getting to that button. And I mean, it actually kind of feels good because it doesn't interfere one bit with camera control. All right, cable test, fits great. MagSafe test with the Mous case. Gotta find it for a second. Woo. Feels pretty good. Nice strong magnets. Next up is the Andar Aspen, and this is one of the favorites of the leather type of cases that you can get. I'm probably gonna make an all leather cases video just because I end up liking that kind of style anyways, and kind of just go over some options that you can get. It's very lightweight. It feels like there's not much to it. So like that's one of the nice things, like these phones they got some good weight to it as it is. But you get a nice felt material on the inside. On the edges, it's kind of got that rugged leather framing, if that makes any sense. All right, I was wondering, like I'm actually super happy about getting the black phone with the black leather. That it looks pretty sleek. All right, button presses, feels good. Nice and tactile. Again, another really wide camera cutout for the camera control. Again, this is one of those cases that I'm gonna put on if I'm feeling like I wanna dress up a bit. It's raised above the screen well enough to where you know that you're gonna have some good protection. The cutouts on the bottom are pretty nice as well. Little fit test for the cable, and it fits good. It's a little MagSafe test with the Andar case. It's got really good magnets. Make sure you check out this link because if you don't like black, there's tons of other colors that you can choose from. This is the UAG Pathfinder case, and this is one of my favorites for years. It's one of the ones that I've enjoyed getting throughout the years. And the design, like it's, you know, been tweaked here and there, but not dramatically. So if you like this kind of case, it's, you know, not going to change much over the years. But what I like about it is that it does have a nice rugged design to it. There's not a soft material on the inside, it's a hard shell. The overall protective edges, the reinforced corners, the raised lip, it's one of those nice rugged cases that you can get that you know that you're going to have a well-protected phone. And I must say the black looks really sick on this. Normally I get a white phone. That's usually my go-to color with the Pro models, but if there's like a blue or green, like what we've seen in the past. But anyways, this looks really good. It's kind of got that Stormtrooper look to it. So this one, it almost doesn't rock. It rocks at the one corner, but the top right and then the bottom, it doesn't really rock at all. So a little MagSafe test. Feels pretty strong. It's really good magnets. Camera control button feels good, easy to use. Buttons, yeah, it's just really like not really many. I really don't have many complaints about the UAG case. It looks cool. Being that it is plastic and I do care about the materials, the different ridges and cutouts and the different just patterns on the back, that helps pass it better than just a flat surface, if that makes any sense. This is the Spigen Classic C1 case. And the reason why I'm interested on this, it's got that kind of cool design with the old school Macs. The installation of this is definitely different. I don't know if I like that much. But once you get it on there, it looks pretty sweet. Like, that's pretty cool. All right, button press. The volume rocker is a little stiffer than most. Power button feels good. Camera control launches just fine. But yeah, a little bit more improvement on the volume rockers. It does have a raised edge to the screen. Looks like decent cutouts for the bottom controls. It's got decent cutouts for the bottom ports. It's raised above the camera module so that you get good camera module protection. It's got good magnets for MagSafe. And cable test. Fits the cable just fine. It definitely has like no gripping points on the back at all. So that's something that you'll have to consider when you're using this case. So it'll slide in and out of your pocket with no problem. Let's talk about Pitaka next. This is their ultra slim case. It's one of the best carbon fiber ones you can get. So this is something that it's pretty interesting that they put this in there. In case your phone doesn't fit, sometimes even though replication should be spot on for everything, sometimes that's not the case. Very much a pun intended. But anyways, these are here in case you need them. It's one of the thinnest cases you can get for your phone, and it's insane how lightweight this feels, but yet, man, it'll still protect for some drops. I can personally attest to that with my Pixel 9 Pro XL. Such a long freaking name. But anyways, MagSafe magnets here. So you still get really good magnets with Pitaka cases. If you like minimal designs, you don't like bulky cases, you don't want to use the skin, but you don't want to go caseless, this is pretty much one of the best choices you can go with. So get your carbon fiber material on the full edge, on the back, full access to all your ports, so needless to say the cable's going to work just fine. There's a full cutout for the camera control and power button, along with the volume control area. The camera module is well protected, like it's got a nice raised lip around that edge. And Pitaka has some of the best magnets on the case. Even as thin as they are, it still has solid magnets. This is actually their ring that they sell too. But yeah, I like Pitaka cases a lot. Like I said, these cases, the hardest part is uninstalling. And what I've discovered is pushing through the camera module helps take it off. This is the Pitaka tactile woven case. As you can tell, this one's gonna look pretty freaking sick. And just in case you need to add some extra padding, in case the case doesn't fit that well, you have these stickers that will help you get a nice firm grip to it. Much like their black one that they have, it's going to look and feel almost the same, except this does have a little bit different texture to it, and it feels really cool. That looks this looks really good. It's a really cool design. It's raised a little bit above the screen. It's basically flush with the screen protector that I have installed. You got full cutouts for the camera control, power button, and also your volume control area. The ports, full cutouts for that as well. The camera module is well protected with that raised edge. MagSafe, as expected, really solid. Cable test for kicks and giggles, just fine. Uninstalling, I like to press against the camera module and then lift on the edge, and it seems to be the easiest method that I've discovered to get these kind of cases off. This is the Thinborne carbon fiber case. If you like tempered glass screen protectors, they include that in the kit. I like how they include that because then you don't have to go out and buy another one. One of the major differences between this carbon fiber case and others that I've used is that it's got this, I don't know if it's gonna be able to tell on camera or not, but on the inside, it kind of like hooks over a touch. And so that's gonna help latch onto the edges of the iPhone that much more. So you know that it's gonna stay on the phone pretty well. I wish Thinborne, what they would do is put their branding on the side instead of the back. That's my biggest gripe about this case. It's not even a big deal. It's just like a preference or maybe an area of improvement that I could tell them, because it would really give a really nice minimal design case. For minimalists, if you're minimalist, you understand. Like, you don't like to have branding all over the place. I'm a minimalist, I promise, but I'm just trying to support my bro over at Chalkerhaus. Even though that it's really small and thin, it still feels nice and grippy in the hand. It's got a raised lip above the camera module. Another big difference with this case is that it has a full cutout. It's not like this carve out of a camera module cutout like what you see with the power button. You know, on other cases that are like this, or this cutout looks like that one. So that's actually kind of interesting to me. On the other side is another full carve out cutout for the volume controls, and then a precise cutout for all the different ports at the bottom. MagSafe test, really nice strong magnets. Cable test, works just fine. So this was the tricky part when I was trying to uninstall this. Because how the edge hugs onto the edge of the iPhone, it makes it kind of difficult to take off. Again, start with the camera module and then work your way off that way. MagBak has had the reputation of some of the strongest magnets on a phone case, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. Oh, it's got a screen protector to install too. You also have a screen protector included on this one, and it looks like you're going to use the box to install it. So if you need some help, they offer some tips to get this installed properly. I've already got one installed, so I'm not going to go through that. Maybe what I'll do is make a separate micro content to go over the screen protector elements. There's quite a few things about this Elite case that you want to take note of. Is one, you can swap out colors. You've got different tabs around the different parts of the case that you can customize it and get different colors that you might like. You got a kickstand, a finger loop, and then a pinky rest. You also get what they call mag sticks. So this is a magnet bar that you can take and just kind of install anywhere that you want. One of the things that I've noticed right away is that you get reinforced edges on the edge. Sometimes my vocabulary is very limited with these videos, but the sides definitely have a nice grip point. They got these different ridges here. It feels like this case should never fall out of your hand. The button's very nice and tactile. No complaints there at all. And then you got a full cutout for the camera control. The kickstand is just a little lift up from the top. There's a little magnet there to hold it in place. So kickstand is just going to be basically landscape mode. Let's try this finger loop out. Okay, that works pretty good. I mean, these rings are pretty cool, the MagSafe style ones, but having it built into the case where you don't have to carry around an extra piece of accessory, not bad. Now, let's see how easy it goes back in. That's not bad at all. It's another touch point just to have some extra grip on it. On the bottom, you got individual cutouts for the speaker grills. You got lanyard loops if you want that. And then you have a dust cover for your USB-C port. The dust cover actually is the dual purpose. It feels actually really soft. That's comfortable to hold. MagSafe test. Oh yeah, solid. I was wondering if the loop is going to get in the way of the MagSafe compatibility, and it doesn't. It's great. It's perfect. I like this case a lot. It's very functional. The next two cases I want to go over are the TAC cases. These things are insanely small. Like, you would think that the carbon fiber ones are small. These ones beat it by a mile. It's crazy how thin these are. This brand's, no. If you do want MagSafe to do, include a MagSafe ring so you can install it yourself, but if you don't want that, you don't have to put that there. This is like a frost kind of color design. God, it is insane how thin these things are. One of the cool things about this case is that you have precise cutouts for the camera module. That doesn't happen very often with cases these days. Usually it's just one full big cutout for the camera module, but they have individual circle cutouts for each camera, the LED light, the sensors, and all that kind of stuff. But you get a button cover for the power button, which is like, it's kind of interesting to me. It's so thin, but they still have button covers for most of the buttons. So power button feels good. It is a full cutout for the camera control button. And then the volume rocker and the action button all feel great too. Precise cutouts for each speaker grill and also the USB port. Now, being that this is so thin, MagSafe still works pretty well, but you can tell that it's not as strong as a direct magnet to magnet would be. And this is the one I like most for the black foam. Again, a MagSafe ring is inside of it if you want to use it. If you're not concerned about huge protection and you like that minimal design, you like to get rid of logos even, because you barely even see the Apple logo on there, this might be the case that you want to get. What's neat about what ArtsEvo has is that you have so many different designs. If you like artistic things, if you want patterns, different colors, they have something for you there. MagSafe magnets feel good. That's pretty impressive. And they got the little bar here, so if you have an accessory that you don't want to rotate around, it'll help prevent that. This is one of their more protective ones. It's got a nice rubber outside. You got a full button there, but you can kind of see on the inside, so it's not a full button cover. It does help with the tactileness though. It's a comfortable camera control press. And again, on this side, you can kind of see these little slivers here. And again, on this side, it's the same button style, is that it's got like the little slivers there that you can see down into where the phone's at. This is actually a pretty neat case to me because like the colorway looks really cool with black. Like this purple, the way that the edges kind of feels like it highlights or feels like it's got a light underneath it in a sense. But you can kind of see that it's got this air cushion pocket on the edges, and that's going to help with those drops. It's raised above the screen. Cable test, it's good. And again, so many different patterns and different designs that you can get with ArtsEvo. So I got a couple cases from Bodyguardz. This is an interesting one. It's pretty lightweight. It's got a smoke kind of color to it, and it comes with a hand lanyard. Like the worst thing about putting all these cases on is going through all the different home screens that I have. Speaking of which, I love my wallpaper I have here. It's a photo that I took of a car in California. It's got pretty good MagSafe. Fits the cable. It's raised above the edge. The texture of this is that it's got that kind of grippy rubber feel to it, so it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out of my hand at all. Pretty good access to your camera control. It's a flat button area here, which is kind of interesting, but it still feels very tactile. Same with the volume rocker and the action button. It's a pretty solid case. Like if you like clear cases, if you like the lanyard will help keep it in place, and you can even adjust the tightness of the lanyard. So if you need it to really not fall out of your hand, you can do that. This one has like it's a tough rubber kind of feel. Like it's very grippy on the inside. The edges have some extra reinforcement to it, so I like that a lot. It's got a nice button press. Buttons feel nice and tactile. There's no direct speaker grill cutouts here, so that's kind of interesting to me, but you can kind of see how it reroutes it. So the audio is going to come through this area, which will push it one direction. So if you are watching a video or something, you're going to have this speaker coming at you naturally, and then rerouted audio coming out this way. MagSafe is really good. And cable test. I like it. Works great. This is the Incase slim case. It's a pretty basic case here. Not much to it. It does hug the edges pretty nice, so that was something I noticed on the installation. Tactile button press on all the buttons. Get a full cutout for all your ports at the bottom. Cable test is good. Protection wise, you're going to have a raised edge above the camera module. It is raised above the screen, and like I said, it does hug the edge. So I like that a lot. It's going to be a nice secure fit. And you have a lanyard holes here if you want to attach that. It's got pretty good MagSafe magnets. This is the Incase icon case. It's got a felt kind of material on the inside. It's got a leather type material on the outside, so I like the material side so far. So what I do notice about the Incase is that it has like this little catch onto the edge of the iPhone. So I like that because it gives me peace of mind that if this falls, like the case is going to fall off the phone. On the outside edges, it's the same material as the back, which it adds a nice element of grip. So I like that. That feels good. I like the feeling of this case. Buttons feel good. Camera control launch is fine. Magnets are good. And cable test. Works well. This is the Incase icon case, and it's got a little different material than what we just did. And this has like that jean type cloth material, which is pretty cool. Feels good. Nice soft material on the inside. I love how the edges just kind of hug the edge of the iPhone, which helps give that nice secure fit. This case feels really good. I like that. I like the cloth material. The material on the edges makes it feel a bit more grippy than if it was just a plastic material. Buttons feel good. You got full cutouts for the ports at the bottom. Protection wise, it's raised above the camera module, above the screen. It's got like this rubber trim, which that's going to help with some shock absorption. That feels good. Nice, good magnets. Cable test. All right. I like this case. It's one of my favorites out of the bunch. Next up is Benks, and this is a case gift box. So pretty cool packaging here. Let's see how it opens up. So I got a sleeve. Craft tomorrow. I feel like an idiot sometimes trying to open these up. All right. So it looks like we got 3 different cases here. All right, let's get all these open so I can see what we're working with. These look pretty sweet. This is nice. No, oh, wow. And in the carbon fiber department, it's going to be a pretty tough race. I'm going to have to do a separate video with all these carbon fiber cases because there's way more choices out there than what there used to be. These colorways look pretty freaking sweet. Which one do you like the most? So these two are kind of similar. Like they got the same cutout designs. And then this one has a full TPU material on the outside. So this one's going to be a little bulkier kind of protection. All right, so buttons feels good. Nice, feels great. You got full cutouts for your bottom ports. You got a raised edge above the camera module. And I like their logo placement there. Like you don't see it plastered anywhere else. So that's a good job with that. I love that. Really strong magnet. Goodness. It slaps. You hear that? This does. Okay, a little bit of extra effort. You can get the cable to fit okay. It almost reminds me of like the Scottish or Irish patterns. And like there's a texture to it. You can feel the weaves. You can see how the case just wraps around the edge and it grips onto the edge. So it's not going to just fall off or slide off. This is crazy good looking. I love this. The different patterns look amazing. So this one looks really cool with the black trim. I like that more because of the black iPhone. If I could have this trim replaced there, that probably would be my everyday carry for a little while. Yeah, the MagSafe magnets on these Benks cases they're pretty strong. All right, Casetify, you sent a lot of stuff. I appreciate it. All right, Casetify, let's get through all yours because you got a ton of stuff. Casetify is another one of those that just has so many different designs to choose from. I'm going to open up this piece here too because this is going to kind of go hand in hand with a lot of their cases. I'm going to have a whole video about like top accessories for your iPhone, but I want to show you because this is just part of their whole design. Is that you got these little clips here So that way you can have this big old strap thing to hang around your neck if you want to. So great for trade shows, great for sports, any kind of occasion that you don't want to use your pockets but you need quick access to your phone, you can use this lanyard strap. It's pretty impressive actually. You can put this piece here through the port there. Then you're going to install your phone. And now you have another hook or attachment point that you can use with this thing. So even if, I mean, this works with almost any case. You don't have to even just use this particular case to do all that. So it's pretty neat. The case itself, it's like, this is pretty dang protective. Like, you look at those corners, you should not have any problems if this thing drops, because the corners, goodness, I'm not doing a drop test. Like, I paid for this phone myself. You should never drop this, but if it does, you're pretty dang protective. It's a pretty comfortable camera control area. Buttons feel nice and tactile. Take that back a little bit. It's a slight more resistant, not much, but in comparison to others. The backside, again, is super protective. Like, this is a full cover here. There's like a tempered glass cover over the camera module. So you get a really big level of protection with this case. Pretty good MagSafe. Now with this thing installed, I'm not sure how well, you have to kind of fold back that ring so that way the cable fits or it doesn't get in the way. But it still fits pretty good. All right, so this is the same case but different color. I'll take it out so you can just see the different color. It's like a navy blue shade. Let's see what goodies we have in this. And I love the presentation. So it's like I get a lot of cases from companies and wonderful packages, but when they go through like this extra mile, it's just impressive to me. I mean, it's got a ribbon on it. That's fun. I mean, it makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I'm getting something special. All right. More ribbon. I don't know if I'm going to go through every single one. I'm going to take them out of the packaging so you can see it. But I don't know if I'm going to install everything. I can pretty much tell if it's going to be, you know, crap or not. Carabiner. It's one of the words that I just struggle with at times. You got this carabiner. It's an indigo color. Wouldn't use it for climbing, of course, but it's got some different connecting points. I'll probably put this on my backpack because there's times where I just need to connect something to that. So this is the extra corner protection there. The blue looks really cool. One of the things I noticed right away about this case is that it's very grippy. Again, I like materials like cloth, leathers, wood, but this material is not going to fall out your hand. It's very grippy. Full access to all the ports. It's pretty much flush with the camera module. Nice strong magnets, and cable test is good. All right, so this is a little bit like a basic case in comparison to what some of these other ones offer, but it's got a really nice looking blue shade to it. It's really tempted not to put all these on, but might as well let you see what it's like. The power button feels good. The volume rocker is a little stiff. Then you get a full access to the camera module. You have full access to the camera control. It's flush with the camera module. Nice strong magnet. Nice cutout for cables. So it's a hard shell on the outside. It's got this rubber kind of material on the outer edge. The button feels good. You're going to notice that the button cover type has the slivers on the edges, not a full cover. Not going to vary much different on quality wise. These two cases are pretty much the same. You just got a topography design on this side, which actually this adds some gripping points, so that's something to point out. Feels kind of cool. So this one's a lot like this blue one, just a different pattern and design. It's got like this space design. It's got, looks like stars in the background with some, whatever you call that. I'm not an astronomer. And last but not least, we have Poetic. Poetic offers some of the more rugged style stuff. They've been on the channel for years at this point. Got a lot of plastic to get through. One of the improvements that they've had over the years is that you have the option to have the pre-installed screen protector frame or without. I prefer without because most of the time I'm using tempered glass screen protectors. All right, so you kind of have to just peel the frame away, put it over the phone like that, and then just put it back in how you got it. And being that I have a tempered glass screen protector already installed, it fits great. Like it's a perfect fit. So this is going to be one of the more protective case options out there out of this batch of cases that we've gone over. And it has a few extra features that are pretty cool too. So one, it is very protective. Like it's got 2 layers of protection. It's got a hard frame shell, but it also has a kind of like a rubber TPU material on the edges and a hard shell on the outside as well. You got a kickstand that you can use for either vertical or horizontal orientations. The other thing that you can use this for is kind of like it's like a ring in a sense. It's not comfortable like something like this, but it definitely still can function as like a ring, another grip point if you don't want to drop the phone. And it clicks back together, so you got to make sure that it clicks back in place. There's also a camera module cover, so if you really want this thing covered up, no dust, elements getting against it, you're going to have that level of protection there too. On the bottom, you got cutouts for your speaker grill. Then you have a port cover for your USB connection. The power button feels good. It's slightly resistant, like not much at all, but just not as tactile as some other kind of cases. And then you got a full cutout for your camera control button. This feels like someone just took a bite out of the case. And it's not their fault. It's just that this is the challenge that case companies have with this new camera control button area. It literally looks like someone took a bite out of it. So goodness gracious, that was a lot of freaking cases to get through. I've got to pile them all up and then I'm going to go over my top 5. There's no way I could just narrow it down to 3. I might go like, yeah, we'll get there in a second. The hardest part of this show, of this video, is picking out top 5 of all the cases that I just went over. Mind, these are my preferences, what I look for in a case, and just what I think the overall experience is going to be like as I use these cases. I'll start off with just naming what they are, and then I'll go over ranking from the least to the top. So from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and see which is going to be my top case out of this bunch. All right, so this is the Nomad Modern Leather, the Peak Design Everyday case, the Mous case, the Benks Carbon Fiber, and the MagBak. If you follow the channel a lot, you'll notice that there's some familiar faces in this batch. One is definitely Nomad, Peak Design, Mous, and like usually Pitaka makes it, but it's just I like this particular design the most. Like I could go either way with Pitaka, but with my particular, let me put it this way. So the carbon fiber material cases, you could pretty much get most of them and be just fine with it. So it just kind of depends on your design that you're trying to go for. With my black iPhone with the black trim, that's part of the reason why I chose this particular carbon fiber case. Moving on. I want to know a few things from you. Out of all the cases that I've gone over, what's your favorite? Pick one, pick your top 3, and let me know why. And then out of my top 5, what's your favorite from this batch? Let me know your most favorite, and then if you have other thoughts, go ahead and leave that too. And that leaves me with picking my top cases. So here we go. This is really hard this year because there's a lot of really great cases. I feel like the 2 that I'm going to use the most, and I'm not too sure. It depends if I change my power cable options because I do connect a SSD to record Apple Log with, so that's going to be actually a test I'll have to do with this phone. I'll probably have to find just a smaller USB-C cable, but from what I learned last year, it was these two cases that I used the most. I mean, a close third was the Mous case. I really like the minimal design of this. I love the just trim. It looks fantastic. I like how it hugs the edges, but I'm not sure if I want to keep my everyday use with this thin of a case. Design-wise, it's great. The most functional case, and probably one of the more protective, is the MagBak case. I love the finger loop, the kickstand, and then the finger rest. Speaking of magnets, its own magnet. Try to be a stowaway. But then the pinky rest was, as small of an item that is, I like it a lot. This is really hard. Like, you really can't go wrong per se with any one of these cases. Oh my gosh, all right. 5 is gonna go to Mous. 4 goes to MagBak. Gotta be the hardest top 5 cases I've done in a while. Okay. 3 is gonna go to Benks. This is so hard. I've not had this trouble picking in a long time. I feel so indecisive right now. Like, I feel like I'm gonna bounce between these two cases the most. I'm gonna give number 2 to Peak Design, and it's really just for the fact that the USB cutout needs to be bigger. So my number 1 is my fallback and go-to, which is the Nomad Modern leather case. There's so many reasons why I like this case. One is protective. That's the reason why I use a case. I can use it for almost any occasion. It could be for something when I'm dressed up. I could be out in the elements. I could be just using it as my everyday stuff. It's just one of the best overall cases I think you can get. You're gonna have a great protective case. You're gonna have something that looks great. The patina is gonna be just good every time. And damn, like, you can't replace that fresh leather smell. This is weird, but I mean, I got feeling when I chose this as my number 1. So it's my clear number 1, the modern leather case by Nomad. That said, let's go ahead and put it on the phone. Oh man, so did any of my top choices line up with what you have? I'm really curious to know what you guys think. Don't forget about Chalkerhaus. This guy has some really cool stuff I know that you're gonna love. Christmas is coming up, any kind of birthdays or special occasions, there's gonna be something at this guy's shop for your special guy in your life. I mean, girls will like this stuff too. There's something for everyone. So anyways, but also there are codes that you can use for some of these case companies to save some money when you're checking out using the links down below. This is gonna take so long to edit, but I'm excited to hear you guys' feedback. I'm looking forward to using these cases and reporting back to you about my full everyday use of this kind of stuff. Again, if there's a brand or a particular case that you want me to review more of out of this bunch, or if there's something I didn't include in this video, let me know what you want me to cover and I'll see about getting that on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, there's something that I like to do at the end of long videos like this, which is to have a code word in a sense. Leave the word code word Chalkerhaus in the comments. It could be in your full comment or just the word Chalkerhaus. And it's just a way for me to know if you watched all the way through. Another little side note, obviously I'm not gonna be using all these cases, so stay tuned for some giveaways coming out as soon as possible. All right, now to clean up this mess, because you should see it behind me. All right. Go home. More than 3 hours later. It's this kind of stuff that makes this recording last what feels like forever. I'm not a fan of camera control. Anyways, but this case is, Alright, goodness, this is so many cases to go through. Will I ever get through this video? I gotta speed things up a little bit. What's really different about this is that it has no speaker girl. So, oh, these look cool. Let's get it all done. Like trying to keep an eye on my memory card space and battery life. Actually, let me check battery life. I need to do that. Well, VMAT batteries, and normally these things last a long time, but definitely won't hurt to check. Doing okay on that one. Batteries are good.